Oh, Kevin Kennedy, you're a Westport man.
I am.
From what era?
I was born on the 3rd of January 1943
Yeah.
at what we called 1 Mill Street. Those houses, there's 4 of them, and row houses up on a bit of a rise. And that's where I was born.
And who owns it now, do you know?
I don't know the name.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I went in a few years back. I was over and I went into the house and she showed me all. They made tremendous improvements.
Okay. So did you live there? You left? When did you leave Ireland?
I left Westport in 1965. I went to Dublin, and I got married there. I got married on the 1st of April and went to Canada on the 6th of April 1968.
68.
And I hadn't made up my mind yet whether I'd stay.
Yeah. So you're still in Canada?
I am.
In Toronto, yeah.
Yeah.
And where did you go to school?
I went to school in the Christian Brothers on Castlebar Street.
Where did you go to primary school? Was that primary or secondary?
It was both.
Both was both, yeah.
Primary was downstairs, the secondary was upstairs.
Yeah.
And the rain coming through the wall at the end.
And who was your teacher?
Oh God, I had a lot of them. Brother Friel, Martin Maguire was a fantastic teacher. I have a great interest in literature and acting. I've done a lot of acting. And it was Martin Maguire that gave me a love for the spoken and the written word.
Okay, yeah. And then was he in the primary or the secondary?
He was in the secondary.
The secondary, yeah.
Jimmy Hughes was in the primary as well.
Yeah.
Brother McKeown, Brother Flaherty upstairs.
And did you enjoy it?
Well, enjoy it as much as you could.
Was it strict at the time?
Well, if you go to the Museum of Irish Country Life
in Castlebar, yeah?
They have the leathers in there that the Christian Brothers used.
Yeah.
And the straps. They were strict, but I suppose they had to be. We were a bit wild at the time, and I have to say that I never experienced any kind of abuse other than the leather.
Yeah, yeah. And looking back on it now, would you have any resentment towards getting it, or?
No. And they gave me a good education.
Yeah.
So they gave me a good grounding, because an education is basically to teach you how to learn. It's not to teach you stuff. And I had great times. I played in Pat Friel's dance band.
You played in that. What did you play?
I played the guitar.
The guitar, yeah.
And I still play the guitar.
And who else was in that band at the time with you?
Fonzie Cannon.
Yeah.
Lenny Grimes.
Yeah.
Pat Friel, Joe Friel. And then another guy came from Sligo, I can't remember his name now.
And who was the singer in the band?
Oh, we all sang it.
You all sang, yeah. And what period was that in?
That would be in the early 60s.
In the early 60s.
And the first place I ever sang on stage was in Kilmena, in the parish hall. It was a concert hall. And I just walked up to the side of the stage and asked them if I could sing. So they said, go ahead. So I went out and I sang Walk On By Leroy Van Dyke.
Great song.
I had I didn't play anything. But Father Desi O'Malley was home from the foreign missions. And he played the accordion behind the curtain while I was singing. So.
And did it go down well?
It did. And I have to blame them for me going on and doing that kind of stuff all my life.
And did you do that? Did you keep it up? You did?
Oh yeah, I still do it.
Is that what were you a musician? Or were you kind of professional, were you?
I was a professional for a while. Yeah. And I did quite a bit of acting.
In where?
In Toronto.
In Toronto. So when did you get to Toronto then?
Were you 1968?
Straight away after the after the marriage, yeah.
The week after the wedding.
The week after the wedding. And did you have a job to go to that time, or?
No, I didn't. No, and I had $220.
Yeah, it was a lot of money that time, wasn't it?
Well, no, it wasn't.
No, it sounds like it.
The first apartment we got was $64 a month.
A month, yeah.
So the 20. But I got a job. We were out there on Saturday, and I got a job on Tuesday in a company that made bread wrappers and biscuit bags and all that kind of stuff. And the first year was extremely tough. Like we were so lonely. We didn't know. I'm not hugely social. People think entertainers are very social, but usually it's the opposite. So at the end of that year, I got into a band there called the Clada Show Band. And at the end of another year, I joined a group called the Irish Rebels. And we were big stuff for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make records?
Oh, we did. And I've made CDs and all kinds of stuff since.
And was it mostly an Irish audience you'd be playing to, or general?
Mixed.
Mixed, yeah.
And I was in a National Film Board docudrama about a family that came to Canada in 1830, and we were nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, that was good.
We didn't win.
The nomination was worthwhile, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I've had a great life, and I love coming back to Westport. And I plan to come back for the Covey Festival next year, and maybe I'll get a gig somewhere, sing a few songs.
And have you been back for the other ones? Any of the other ones?
No, I haven't.
First time, yeah.
I've never made it for the Covey Festival.
Well, Marty Curry was one of the big guys in this thing.
Marty.
Did you know him when you were around?
Oh God, I knew him all my life.
Yeah.
We had such great times. And Marty, myself and Marty, Edwin Gibbons, Jackie Foley, Patsy Stanton, Josie Ratband, and we went on a tour for Freedom from Hunger around Ireland singing. And we had 2 cars, and we'd stop wherever and get out and sing a few songs, and the boys would go around with the buckets and collect some money.
On the street, like?
Yeah.
Busking, I suppose.
Oh yeah,
busking,
anywhere.
Busking,
anywhere, yeah. No, it was great.
Did you ever get to play on television or anything like that? No?
What's that?
Did you ever get to play on television?
Oh, I did, yeah.
In Canada?
I've done a lot of television in Canada, but I was on the Late Late Show on New Year's Eve 1971, which was the 10th anniversary of RTE. So we were on there.
On RT in Ireland?
Yeah, on Gay Byrne.
Oh, Gay Byrne. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Have you kept the video, or you ever got it, or?
What's that?
Have you ever kept the video of it?
No, I never got it.
Never got it,
no,
yeah.
I don't know whether I could now or not.
Yeah, there was another Kennedy man here from town that used to be in the fisheries. Was he a brother of yours?
Michael, yeah.
Michael Kennedy.
He's my brother, yeah.
He's not long dead. Last year, was it?
Yeah.
Last year,
and Ray was my other brother.
And Ray, yeah.
He used to come down and sing.
So. Yeah. And you were Ray, yeah.
They wrote the book about Mickey Park.
They had another band, did they?
What?
Did they have a band?
Yeah,
Ray Kennedy, yeah.
And in Dublin, Platform. Yeah, he did really well.
He did well, yeah. And you're still singing?
I am, yeah. Too stupid to stop like that.
So you said when you arrived in Toronto first, you were lonely for a year, yeah?
Yeah.
What's it like to leave a small town like Westport and end up in a big city? Well, I suppose you had a taste of Dublin first, you did?
I had a taste of Dublin first, and it didn't feel that different.
Didn't feel that different, yeah.
You live where you live.
Well, I often wonder when you go in and look up at the big skyscrapers and all this kind of stuff.
You get used to that quickly.
You do it for it. And what's it like living in Toronto now as an Irishman? Is it pleasant?
There's a big Irish community.
Is there? Yeah.
It's a strong Irish community.
And would you hang around with the locals? Is there any such thing as a local Canadian? But
some, yeah. Some. I hang around with anybody. And we have Ireland Park, and Aaron Key is the name of a street.
Yeah.
And Ireland Park is on Lake Ontario. And the statues that are in Dublin of the famine people leaving Ireland.
Yeah.
Well, we have the corresponding statues by the same sculptor of the arrival in Canada.
Okay.
And the Irish arrived, 30,000 Irish arrived, and the population of Toronto at the time was something like 15,000.
And how well were they received?
They were received extremely well.
Were they?
Yeah.
The locals didn't feel they were going to be swamped?
They built fever sheds because they were dying as they came there.
That's right, sir.
And some of like Bishop Power, he died. The doctor who was looking after them, he died. They all got cholera or whatever. And,
There must be a huge population of Irish descent Canadians now, is there?
I would think so. Yeah, I don't know exactly what, but there's Irish communities in just about every town. Well, in just about every town in the world, really.
Yeah.
There's many. You can go to Russia and see the St. Patrick's Day parade.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's no shortage.
You have a St. Patrick's Day parade in Toronto, yeah?
Oh, we do. Yeah, we do.
Big?
It's big. Yeah. No, it started. It started in 1897, I think, and there was a riot the first parade, and it was banned for about 80 years after that.
Yeah.
So we finally got it back again, and now we've had it for since.
Okay. So do you find much change now when you come back to Westport from
huge.
what it was when you left?
Huge. When I left Westport, it was a small little quiet town, and it's enormous. There was no. When I left, there was 2 restaurants. There was no restaurant when I was growing up. When I left, there was 2. There was the Tea Cozy on the Octagon, and Mrs. Rabbit's on Bridge Street. But there was no chip shop in Westport. We used to drive to Castlebar to what do you call it? Wimpy's.
Wimpy, that's right.
To get chips.
Yeah. I think Brian Ruddy had the first chip shop, did he? Down the Club A.
I don't know, there was one down there, the Pavilion Ballroom, the old pavilion, I don't know what it is now, a storehouse or something. Down at the corner there.
Yeah, that's O'Connell, the cash and carry place now, isn't it?
Is that right?
Yeah.
But there was one on the corner there before you go up the Minister's Hill. And that was the first fish and chip shop I remember,
And how did you occupy yourself as teenagers that time now?
Well, my children might see this, so I think I'll abstain from.
Well, you can censor it yourself. You can self-censor it, yeah.
No,
Well, you're no different than them anyway. Go on anyway.
No, as younger teenagers, we played ball on the streets and handball against the wall, and the old creamery where the car park is now, just outside your office.
Yeah.
That was a field. That was our playground. We played everything in there, from Gaelic to soccer to cricket.
Cricket?
Cricket, because there was 2 English. There was an English guy came to the Bank of Ireland as manager, and he had 2 kids, and they played cricket. So we all played cricket. And on the Grand National Day, we would rerun the Grand National out in the creamery when it was over. and it was kind of innocent times, but we would go off, we'd be gone the whole day. If that happened now, parents would be calling the police.
That's right.
But it was different times. And then as I got older, of course I took to the dancing, and then I got into the music.
And where would you dance that time?
The Pavilion and the Ideal.
And the Ideal. The Ideal was the cinema.
Michael owned both of them.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember once, and you can check this in Cyril Stapleton's memoirs. He tells the story about when they came to Westport, and they were in the Ideal Ballroom, and Michael had an old upright piano, and all out of tune and everything. And Cyril stopped and he said, "No, I need a grand piano." So Michael sent the 2 boys off with a handcart down to the pavilion, and they loaded up the other piano and brought it up to the Ideal and brought it in, and it was just the same as the other one. And Cyril Stapleton said, "These are not grand pianos, I can't possibly use them." And Michael said, "Them were 2 of the grandish pianos in Ireland." So it was a great town to grow up in, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but I always felt that Westport was unique. It had something special about it, and certainly it does now.
Well, it still does. It still has, yeah.
It's amazing. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time.
You're fine. I'm enjoying this myself. Yeah. So, and you used to go to the films much, movies.
Oh God, yeah. In Patrick Heavenly's.
Where was that?
And that was where the town hall is now.
Okay, yeah.
And
can you remember the films of the day, the big ones?
Well, cowboy movies.
Cowboy.
And if there was, the posters used to come, and if there was too much cleavage on them, the censor would darken, paint in at the top. And you could, there was 4pence into the cheap seats, and they were like benches. So if you got 8pence from your father to go to the movies, you buy a 4-penny, and then you try and crawl back on the ground into the 8-pennies.
When it got dark, when the lights went down.
Halfway up then was the toilets where you went off to the left, and the row along the toilets was Kidney Row, because all the fellas who needed to go a lot would sit in Kidney Row. And then if you could go upstairs was where you went when you were a little bit older, because that was where you could do some party. So, no, it was great.
It was a great time, yeah.
The ideal was a little better cinema, but they were great times. And the town hall then was a bit of a ramshackle. There was a snooker hall, there was a library in there. And, but, you know.
And did you ever go down to Westport House now? Did you be down there?
I worked in Westport House.
Did you work in Westport House?
I worked in Westport House from 62 to 65.
And who was in charge that time? Was Jeremy there that time, or?
Jeremy was there then, and my brother Michael was the estate agent.
Okay, yeah.
And God knows, you know, I'm not sure what benefit I was to the place. But,
what job did you have?
Some kind of clerical job in the office, you know. I typed up the first brochure for Westport House when it was opening, and we ran it off on an old gas tether, you know, with all kinds of blogs and everything.
So were you there when it was opened in the beginning then?
I was, yeah.
Oh yeah, was it a big affair?
I used to be the guide in the house. I'd sit in the chair and people came in, and I was supposed to show them around. Sure, I knew nothing about the place.
Well, did they tell you about the place? Did they tell you a few facts about it?
Yeah.
They did, yeah. Were there many people coming in that time?
There was a good few, yeah. But there was nothing there. It was just the house then.
Well, was the garden maintained that time?
Not really. No.
Not really,
it was a little more than it is now, but not really.
And was the farmyard active that time? Was
the farmyard was where our office was. And yeah, the farmyard was active, and when you come out from Westport House now, there's a road goes down, says private. That's where the workers' cottages were, and some of the workers lived in the farmyard. And Charlie Kenny had his workshop in the corner. You know, Charlie was a magician; he could do anything. Sean Kittrick ran the dairy. You know, Sean and Patsy. And I think they're both dead now.
They're both dead, yeah. And Jeremy he liked the timber work today, or the wood. He used to cut timber down there, did he?
Yeah, they never cut much timber.
Didn't cut that in your time, yeah.
They were always trying some scheme, you know. They had 800 acres and they couldn't make a decent living on it.
Yeah.
They'd bring in sheep, or they got one farm manager over in the 50s, and his idea was to grow wheat. Now, wheat in the west of Ireland is not the best. You need a lot of dry weather for it.
You got a lot of rain down on top of it.
Yeah.
Lodging and all that, yeah. So you're back. How often would you come back home now?
I come back just about every year.
Every year.
There was a few years I wasn't home because my wife was sick. And I tried.
So you meet all the lads, you do?
Well,
all that's left?
I don't know a whole lot now.
No, you know, things change, don't they? Yeah.
Edwin and March were the two I used to meet at all with.
Yeah.
But I don't know a whole lot of others. You know, it's completely changed. You know, and there are an awful lot of what we used to call blow-ins.
Like me.
Like you. Yeah. Where were you from?
Ballinasloe.
Oh God.
I'm not too far away, but I wouldn't qualify.
Yeah, that's Roscommon.
I wouldn't qualify. Well, it's Galway and on the border of Roscommon. Yeah.
Well, you know, that was two enemies of Mayo. Yeah.
And you're coming back next year for the...
I'm coming back for the Kobe Festival next year.
We will have to have a few songs from you.
We will.
See how good you were.
We will, yeah.